Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savannah.
And welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday, almost Harry's house day
Okay,
for
I want to
us.
scream so bad, you guys. As we are recording this right now, Harry's album, Harry Styles, if in case you don't know who we're talking about, his album is about to drop in about 4 hours. So I'm losing my mind sitting over here. By the time you guys hear this, it will already be out. So go stream it. Harry's house.
Yes.
I will forever promote him. Did he ask me to? I wish.
Yeah, right. Oh my god. I feel like we have like a little bit every week about him.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. We have a Harry's corner.
We'll stop eventually,
home.
maybe.
Nope. I'm never stopping.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean, maybe one day, but for the foreseeable future, no.
Okay, well that's our future, but how has your week been, Taylor?
Okay, so last week, if you listened to the last episode, it was, when we were recording it at least, about to be Friday the 13th, and we were like, we'll have to update you guys, like, if anything happens, because, you know, like, supposedly you're gonna have bad luck on Friday the 13th, and actually, my Friday the 13th was fine. It was chill. I really didn't do much, just worked and chilled. What about you?
Honestly, mine was too. It was nothing.
See, it was so chill. I was like, okay, cool. We've made it through Friday the 13th and it's fine. However, the next day, well, it really did start on Friday the 13th now that I think about it.
Oh.
But anyway, basically, Friday the 13th, I found out my AC was broken in my house. That's annoying because I live at the beach and currently we're going through like a heat wave, and today it was 100 degrees, so I'm very thankful to have it fixed at this point. But so it started out, my AC broke, and obviously it was the weekend, so we had to wait till Monday to get that fixed, right? And then all of a sudden my landlord was like, hi, we're putting a new roof on your house. And I was like, why? Just simply why? And
just in the middle of this mess.
In the middle of the mess, right? And they had already had it planned, obviously, so you know, adult life, just horrible, a bunch of horrible things will happen to you all at once, because why would it be one by one? Of course it wouldn't.
Oh, that's literally always how it happens.
Oh, 100%. Like, terrible things come in threes. Mine this week has came in hundreds. So
oh my gosh.
They were like, the roof people will be there Monday and Tuesday. So, you know, I work from home, I work remotely, and so I was sitting here for 8 hours working, just hammering so hard, shaking the windows for 8 hours. I was miserable.
Oh,
and if you remember, I was sitting in non-air conditioned home in almost summertime at the beach. So not only was I having a headache from the hammering, I was also really hot. So that was already miserable.
No, Taylor, I would have went somewhere else. Like,
I couldn't. I literally couldn't because, like,
yeah,
I don't work on a laptop. I have a very serious setup going on. It's not very portable.
That's true.
So, you know, that seems like enough, right? However, the roofers ended up messing up a lot of things in my house. For one, they ran over my water line and broke the pipe. So that created a flood of my entire neighborhood. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
for
my God.
Hours and hours and hours. And they like knew it had happened, but they didn't come and tell me. I figured it out when I was trying to go wash my hands, and I turned the sink on and the water wasn't on. And I was like, so immediately I texted Dean. I'm like, hi, did we pay our bill?
Yeah.
Because I was like, it was probably on us. Like, maybe we got it cut off. And she was like, yeah, no, we totally paid our bill. And I was like, okay. What? So then I just look outside because I had a horrible feeling. And then there was a flood. A literal ocean in my road.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you said you lived at the beach. They were just bringing the beach to you.
However, I was paying this. Immediately, my stomach just sank into my butthole because I was like, my water bill is going to be so much. I'm funding the ocean right now.
Okay, that can't be on you, though.
It's not. Right? It's not. It's not. However, me calling the water people, it was just a whole mess. It was a whole mess to get fixed because they broke something that was like really hard to fix. So then we had to get a plumber out here. It looked like a party was going on. Tragically, it was no fun because there were so many people here trying to just fix everything. And then they ended up like cutting the power off in my living room. It was just a mess. It was such a mess. And luckily, as I say here today, every single problem that they cause is fixed except for one. So hopefully that one will be fixed tomorrow. But that has been my week. Adult life.
Okay.
It's been horrible.
Well, that sounds, yeah, pretty horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be selfish, but I'm glad it didn't happen when because I'm about to come to your house.
For sure. I was the only one here that had to deal with any of that. So, I mean, I'm glad that nobody else had to deal with that because it was a lot. And honestly, no, I didn't want to see a single person because I was so angry.
Honestly, though, also, you're probably like, it's a lot for it all to happen at once, but at least, I mean, if it was going to all get thrown at you, it was all at once,
Okay, and now, so listen. So, like, yeah, other things have happened, and I'm like, I'm not paying for none of it, first of all, because I rent my house. And all I have to say is literally every hour I was texting my landlords, like, hi, I hate to bother you yet again, but something else is wrong. And they were like, Taylor, I'm going to need you right now. I literally have a text message. Linda was like, can you please call a priest and get an exorcism on your house?
Oh my god.
Because this bad luck has to go. I was like, I completely agree. So I'm not saying that it was all caused by Friday the 13th, but boy, was it horrible.
Okay. I mean, it kind of seems like it was. But...
It kind of was. So that's been my week. At least I'm over that hill at this point. If we had recorded in the midst of all of that, I would have been a much more angry person talking about it.
Oh, definitely. So. My week has been not nearly as bad as yours.
Well, I'm glad. Honestly.
I'm sorry. I got to go to Raleigh to go see Rex Orange County.
Shout out. I'm so jealous.
It was amazing. If you don't listen to him, go look him up.
Absolutely. He also didn't ask us to say that, but go listen.
No, he did. He asked me to.
Yeah, okay.
Personally.
You're right.
But yeah, it was amazing. It was like one of my favorite shows I've been to. So
wow, that's pretty serious. Cool. I love that for you. Love that for you. Please go rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I don't really have any other intro topics unless you do. Yeah,
no, I don't.
Let's get into the stories. I'm really excited about mine. I know I'm not going first. I'm just saying I'm excited about it.
Mine, I'm pretty excited about it too, but also like it's okay. I don't know if you've heard of this one before.
Okay.
We're talking about a cryptid.
Ooh.
It's called the Mongolian Death Worm.
No. Well, was it? I guess that's not the same thing as in SpongeBob. The bull worm. Yeah, no, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
No, I've never heard of that. That also doesn't sound like a cryptid. It sounds like a worm.
Yeah, well, I mean, a cryptid is just an animal that, like, people claim it's true. It's, like, real, but it's never actually been, like, photographed or found.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It just doesn't sound up front scary because worms.
Oh, I mean, yeah, definitely true. But it's also called the death worm. So there's that.
That's okay. Yeah, you're right.
It is pretty scary, honestly. Let's get into it. So this cryptid allegedly exists in the Gobi Desert.
Ooh.
So also a desert worm. It's like, I don't think those really exist, but
maybe.
Yeah. We'll get there. They are reported to live in like the most arid and sandy areas of the western Gobi. And some say it's like in the south. So I guess just over that area, south and west. So it looks how it sounds, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the way you said it doesn't seem scary, so maybe it doesn't look how it sounds to you.
No, it does sound scary. It just sounds small. I think that's why it seems less scary to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like a worm, but it's big.
Okay. Okay. So actually horrifying.
But it's not. But it's also not as big as I thought.
Okay.
So. Okay. So it's been described as follows. So I have a little quote here that honestly this makes it sound kind of gross, but we're gonna read this quote. It is shaped like a sausage, about 2 feet long, and it has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous that merely to touch it means instant death. It lives in the most desolate parts of the Gobi Desert.
Oh my god. That sounds horrifying, actually.
Yes.
Ew. Like a 2-foot thick worm? Ew.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also, people say it looks like, it looks like an intestine.
Yum.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a
Ew.
worm looks like.
It is.
It's like just that size, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's not even huge. Like, I thought this thing was going to be, like, massive.
I mean, that's far bigger than a regular worm.
But I was thinking, like, human-sized.
Okay, well,
like in SpongeBob and stuff, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm glad it's not that big. Because that's just insane. So its actual, like, native name, it's, like, some words that I can't pronounce. But
of course,
the native name translates to intestine worm.
LOL.
This is probably like the grossest one I've done. Like, I don't want to talk about intestines, but here I am.
I don't know why that doesn't really gross me out that bad.
Oh, really? I don't know. I just don't like it. So it is also like a red blood color.
Mm-hmm. That's what I imagined.
Yeah. And so before I said in that quote, it's like 2 feet, but this, the other stuff I saw said that it was about 2 to 7 feet long.
Oh, God.
So
oh, my God. Ew. Now, the more that I'm thinking about it, like, worms are a lot like snakes, and I do not like snakes. So, this is actually pretty sickening. Because this is like, I imagine now like a thick snake.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. I mean, I like snakes better than worms, though. I don't know.
I like none of the above.
See, but I honestly do like the little worms, like normal size worms. Like, if they're on the sidewalk, I'll put them back in the grass.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta help them out.
But I don't know. And I guess I am scared of snakes, but I like the idea of snakes.
I don't.
Which, I mean, might not make sense. But
No, I think that it definitely does.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know how I feel about this creature. A little bit more about it. It lives under the sand. So, that's fun. I'll just be hiding under there.
That's actually horrifying. Because, like, I don't really like to think about things that live under the sand. Because anything could come grab you at any point.
Yeah, that's true.
Ew.
Have you ever been, like, digging on the beach and then there's, like, little...
Absolutely. The crabs.
Those little crabs. Or those little things that look like beetles almost.
Yes. Ew. The sand fleas. Ew.
Yes.
Yeah. Ew. When I was just in the Outer Banks, my brother got this little device specifically to catch them, the little sand fleas. Because in the Outer Banks, there's huge ones. And they would use it as, like, fishing bait. It's sick. It's sick. Who even knows how many creatures live under that sand?
Honestly, true. Like, you never really think about it, but they're under there.
Apparently these death worms do, too.
They also, like, come out of the sand during the wetter months, apparently. Which is June and July. So that's coming up.
Uh-oh. Everybody stay safe from these death worms.
They're about to be out. And, you know, they are called death worms. So they are murderous, kind of. They kill.
That's good.
They can kill, like, at a distance.
Oh.
Yes. They have... So, in that quote I said earlier, they, like, if you touch it, you can die. But also, they have venom that they spray.
Oh, wow. That's horrifying.
Yeah. It's, like, corrosive yellow saliva.
Oh, my God.
It's really bad.
Ew.
Yeah.
This sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
TM, we're going to make it.
I think there's already a movie.
Oh, dang it. They beat me to it.
I think my notes about that are at the end, but yeah, there's a movie called The Death Worm or something. They don't just have venom. They also have an electric charge.
Oh my God. They really have it all.
Yeah, so basically, like, they'll send, like, electric shock through the sand, I guess, and, like, can get you, you know?
That's so horrifying.
Yeah. It's, like, so random, though. Like, why?
Right. Like, are they evil? Like, do they like killing? Or do they just be, like,
Well, I don't know
accidentally?
if they, like it, but they just do it. Like,
Yeah, no, I got you.
because I'm like, do they have feelings or anything?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Probably not.
yeah,
But,
they just, like, they're just living their life shock in the sand. And, you know, if a person dies, they die.
yeah. They do actually have, like, their main prey is livestock and humans.
Oh, that's so good. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Also, what livestock is in the desert?
I have no
Camels,
idea.
I guess? I don't know.
Camels, but, like, only camels that are going through it. But I guess if they also eat humans, then yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I didn't find, like, I saw that they would kill, but I don't know if they eat their prey.
That was just
Maybe
going to
they
ask
do.
that. I was just going to ask that. Because if they don't eat it, then they have to be evil. Right?
Yeah.
Like, biologically, like, I think, unless you're, like, trying to protect yourself. Like, maybe they're just really scared, too.
Well, I think I didn't come across anything where it said their diet, so I'm guessing they do just eat their prey. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, or they could just leave you for dead, you know, either way.
You know, either one's really not good.
Okay, so there's also a legend that it will attack by raising half of its body out of the sand, and it will, like, inflate its body until it explodes.
Oh my god.
And then the venom will go everywhere.
So it, like, literally kills itself?
Yeah, I guess.
That's so wild. Can you imagine just seeing that?
No, I know. Like, if this creature is real, that is...
That's
It's just-
disgusting. That's
yeah.
simply disgusting.
See, I told you this one was gross. Like, I didn't think it was going to be this bad when I started.
It wasn't sickening at first, but now, actually, I very much so am disgusted.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was just looking at, like, the list of cryptids on, like, I don't know, Wikipedia or something. I was like, oh, that one sounds interesting.
It sure does sound interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so there have been, like, investigations to go find it, just like with any cryptid, you
Of
know.
course.
This guy, Ivan McCarroll, I hope I'm saying that right. He was actually one of the leading Loch Ness monster detectives.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, supposedly. And he studied the area in Mongolia, of the Gobi Desert for, like, years.
Wow.
To try to find this, too. So he actually went on 3 different trips to Mongolia in 1990, 1992, and 2004.
Oh, wow.
And he became obsessed with it after meeting a Mongolian student. Like, when this guy was in college, he, like, met another student from Mongolia, and he told him about it. He's like, oh, there's this worm thing in the Gobi Desert that nobody's ever found before. So he's like, oh, I gotta go out there
Yeah, he was
find
like,
it.
sign me up.
But it wasn't until his late 40s that he got granted permission by the government out there to do research.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, he was actually granted permission?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that
that's
seems a
kinda
little
cool.
bit credible, in my opinion.
See? That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people, like, claim they've seen it. You know, stories are out
I don't
there.
like that, though. Like, I don't want this
Yeah.
one to be real.
No, me either. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's real, and then, like, some of these are just made up. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't actually...
Like, maybe it's not as scary as people are saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope it's not. If it is real, I really do hope it's not. Ew.
Oh, this is actually cool, though. Some of his research, it was inspired by Dune, the book.
I was going to say the movie, but I know it's a book.
Yeah, the book from 1965.
Okay, I have a very unpopular opinion. I really hate that movie.
You know what I'm going to say. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Anyways, I might say it eventually. But his stuff was inspired by Dune because he used vibrations to search for the worm in the sand.
I mean, that's smart.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He also interviewed Mongolian people about the worm and, like, said, like, have you seen it? What do you think? And a lot of people claimed that they had seen it or, like, they've heard stories about it. So, I don't know. But I don't know. That's just, like, Bigfoot here. It's like people say that.
Well, I mean, Bigfoot's real.
I mean, you're right. But, you know, it's just, like, one of those, like, everybody's just going to say stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were also, like, strange deaths attributed to the worm that he found out about. So, yeah, I guess just when he was interviewing these people, they were like, oh, well, this guy was, like, found in the desert and nobody knows, you know?
Yeah, that's... I mean, also he could have died from many different other reasons.
I mean,
such as dehydration.
Yeah.
Because you were in the desert. But, I mean, who knows? It could have been the death worm.
Or, you know, yeah, maybe it was electric shock. Or maybe he was just hit by lightning.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Wait. Before you move on, I do actually have a question that I don't think you're going to know the answer to.
Okay.
So, however, so one reason I do not think this is credible, at least as you're speaking, when electricity hits sand, it makes glass. So if he is theoretically shocking the sand, should there not be glass being made? Because, like, when a beach gets struck by lightning, it makes glass.
I mean, you're right. Maybe it's more like it's out of the sand and
or
it, like, will shoot light, like, basically lightning at you above the sand.
Yeah, you're right. He could be out of the sand, or the glass could be made underneath the sand if that's where he is.
True. Yeah. So. Yeah, it could be something like that.
Interesting.
I didn't really think about that. Well, now I need to find where I was. Oh, sorry. This guy, he thinks that, like, after all of his research and everything, he's like, well, I think it's just a legend, kind of.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So.
I mean, I hope it is.
Yeah.
I hope he's right.
Yeah. Some people think, though, and I think he was on this train where, like, it's actually a real thing, but, like, it could be something else that like people have put all this legend towards.
Yeah.
You know, so like experts think that it's not a real worm, but it like could be like a different type of animal. So
interesting.
Yeah, so they like say that like it couldn't be a worm because like they wouldn't survive in the Gobi Desert because it's too hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like any type of annelid, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But there's been like suggestions that it could be a skink.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, like a little lizard type deal.
Yeah. But this one, people are like, maybe because like the worm is supposed to not have any limbs.
Yeah, and they definitely have arms and legs and a tail. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe not. But it could be this new type of species, a worm lizard thing.
Oh, that is crazy. Okay, but again with that theory, worms are like one of the oldest creatures that have been alive on this earth. So like I feel like they could probably live in sand if they like evolutionarily, you know, got used to it maybe. I actually don't know, but I know that they're like one of the oldest creatures. So
yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, they would just turn into different species that would be able to survive in different conditions, right?
You're right.
So, like, I think the worm lizard thing, that would be more probable.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like, if you think about a worm in the sand, it's just going to be, like, dried out.
Yeah.
Like,
because how would he even move?
Like, they don't survive on sidewalks. You know?
The savagery, but yes, I do know.
I mean, it's true.
It is.
But that's, like, the most probable explanation people are going towards, that it's a worm lizard, which is in Amphisbaena.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There's like a word for it, but they've also just called it worm lizard.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with that. And it's like they're like burrowing reptiles, so that makes sense. It's burrowing into the sand.
Mm-hmm.
Why can I not say that word?
That's a really hard word to say.
Yeah. It really is. So it's more like a snake than a worm.
Ew, ew, ew.
Actually, so you were kind of right with it being like
Disgusting.
a snake. Yeah. There was also another search for this creature in 2005.
Ooh.
The Center for Fortean Zoology, they traveled 1,000 miles of the Gobi to look for the death worm.
Oh, wow.
And they could not find it. So,
I take that as a
course.
good sign.
Yeah, sure. They concluded that it was probably a large unknown type of worm lizard. And
You're right.
they say that it probably does not have the powers that it's like said to have
Mm-hmm.
with the venom, like the poison and the electricity and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm pointing towards. That it's like just like a little worm lizard snake thing,
Mm-hmm.
and people see it and they're like, "Oh my god, that's the death worm."
I mean, I fully would believe that. If I saw some sort of like a worm, lizard, snake thing in the desert, I'd be like, fully, it's going to kill me.
Yeah.
I think literally regular black snakes are going to kill me. So,
Yeah.
I would totally have fabricated that and said,
No, that's
it
what I'm
was the
saying.
death worm, baby.
Yeah.
And it shoots yellow, poisonous venom at you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I could definitely see it coming together.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like media that have taken this idea and like, put it into stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
So there's like several shows, but the one that I picked out was there was a 2010 movie. This is the one I was talking about from Sci-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Mongolian Deathworm. So, original.
Yeah.
But in that movie, they're showed as like a giant slug-like creature.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like extendable jaws.
Ew.
Gross. And they're able to climb walls.
Okay. That's an absolute no.
Yeah, but they also don't have the ability to shock you or spit acid, so it's like, you guys just made up a new creature.
Right. So the movie Mongolian Deathworm is not even about the Mongolian Deathworm.
Yeah. That's
See,
what I'm
okay,
saying.
so therefore we're gonna redo it. Reboot. We're gonna completely redo it.
Honestly, true. We could. One last thing I have here about this. They were also in a video game called Ark Survival Evolved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like in the game there are huge worms that are taller than T-Rex.
Oh my god.
And they have arms though.
Ew.
And they can like bite and claw. But
That kind of sounds like a fun game.
yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's like look it up. See what it's
I
about.
know.
But yeah, so that's the Mongolian Deathworm, and it's scary, but I don't know about this one.
Okay, first of all, I have never heard of that. You were right. That's wild. That people just casually like, oh yeah, the death worm, like in Mongolia. Like, yeah, just the death worm.
Yeah.
No big deal.
They're like, oh, I've seen it.
Like,
It killed my sister.
like, I mean, that's completely different. I feel like our Bigfoot is like way less scary than a Mongolian death worm.
No, that's true. Like, our cryptids here are not that scary. Like,
No, not compared. That's so funny. I
And this
definitely
one-
hope that's not real.
no, true. This one actually seems like it could be more real.
Yeah, I mean, this one's
It's
way
like-
more realistic, which sounds crazy, but like it is,
Yeah.
compared to other ones.
Yeah.
That's so wild. It's still the whole time you were talking, I still just imagined the bullworm from SpongeBob. Which that one's scary too. And also,
Yeah.
if you think about it, he's on the sand and under the water.
I mean, you're right. But they're supposed to be in, like, the dry areas,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So-
It's true. That's just his aquatic brother.
yeah. No, you're definitely right.
That's funny. And it's so funny also that your story reminded me so much of SpongeBob, which ties in a lot to my story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm
This is
excited.
the Legend of SpongeBob. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, what if it was?
I'm just kidding. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I did not have a cryptid for you. I don't even know what to say. Well, I didn't want to spoil it for you, but you're going to know the second I tell you. I have for you this week the legend of the Flying Dutchman. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my god. The Flying Dutchman.
So, I mean, first and
I
foremost,
love that.
you know, when I hear the Flying Dutchman, I immediately think of the SpongeBob episode.
Yes, definitely.
Where they're like on the Flying Dutchman, and that's literally like one of my favorite episodes because that's the one that Patrick on the ship, he's like leedle 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 lee.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it so much.
Is that also the one where they're like going through and like scraping the boat and he's like, you're good, you're good.
Yes. And I'm just like, that is so me. SpongeBob is so relatable, but that episode is just so funny to me. I love it. And so if you haven't seen that episode of SpongeBob, first of all, you're Patrick Star and you live under a rock.
See,
but
yeah, exactly.
in case you haven't, you may have also heard of the Flying Dutchman from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Shout out Johnny Depp. So, yeah, that was the movie. In the movie, I'm pretty sure that's his boat. Like, they are on the Flying Dutchman. Or maybe it's his... I don't remember.
Is it not the Black Pearl?
Was that only in the movie The Black Pearl? I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't seen them in a while.
I've seen all of them, but I never know which one is which.
Yeah.
But I think the Flying Dutchman is in all of them, but I am unsure. So, but regardless, it's very popular in pop culture, the Flying Dutchman. But no, sadly, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the plot of a SpongeBob episode or the entirety of the Pirates of the Caribbean films because we would be here forever. Instead, I'm going to tell you the real story of the Flying Dutchman. Real, quote unquote.
Okay.
So, it's something that has seemed to stump many sea men and women. Specifically, like not specifically, just ghost ships in general are like confusing to like sailors. Like we talk a lot about ghosts and some of them come like in super weird varieties, you know, but like ghost ships, we've talked about one before, the Mary Celeste on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like how much energy does it take if a ghost ship is really real? Like I feel like I've always heard like ghosts have to use a lot of energy to like be seen and stuff. So I can only imagine how much energy you have to use to make a ghost ship be visible to living people.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I don't know.
Maybe is it like the ghost of the captain?
Maybe, but still, like he's fully making visions of a whole ship in an ocean, which is just wild to me. Yeah. So the Flying Dutchman is arguably the most famous ghost ship out there. Throughout history, there's been thousands and thousands of strange sightings of this ship, and those sightings have resulted in like super eerie legends that explain why the sailors fear this ghost ship so much. And that is because seeing the ghost ship is an omen of impending death. So basically, if you see it, you're going to die.
Ooh.
And that's what most, like, all people believe. Everyone, every single person.
Just ever.
Yep, ever. But specifically like sailors, people, and you know, pirates and such things. So, as with every legend, there are many variations to the story. The earliest printed version comes from the late 1700s, which is pretty old. And basically, it was, I mean, the Flying Dutchman was way before the 1700s, but it was the first time it was ever seen in writing. Okay. So, you know, and that says that the Flying Dutchman sank in a horrible storm off of the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa.
Oh my God, the Cape of Good Hope
hold
again.
Hold up.
Everything's there.
I know. So if you've listened to the other episodes, that might sound familiar to you, just as it did to you. In episode 57, I talked about the legend of the Castle of Good Hope, which is a super haunted castle. And that's just so crazy. Like everything, this place is so haunted. Like I'm absolutely trying to go there.
Right. Like I thought there was another thing that mentioned that too.
There definitely is.
Was there not?
I couldn't. I tried to find it, but I couldn't. I also didn't try that hard.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like we've heard that name in many different stories that we've done.
It's like one of the most popular port cities in South Africa. So it's bound to have a lot of things happen there. But It's just crazy how many things even we've talked about. And I didn't even know that. It just came up with the story.
Yeah.
So, moving on. The ship, apparently, in this first written record of it, it was trying to enter the port, but failed because the storm was, like, making super, super rough waters. And because the waters were so rough, it damaged the ship, and it actually ended up sinking, and along with everybody on board.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah. So that's the very first written version of the legend. Moving on a little bit further in history, a man by the name of George Barrington, who was an author, among many other things too, but he claimed that he heard from many people, because he like lived around the area, that he knew exactly what happened to the Flying Dutchman. So in his version, he said that there were 2 Dutch ships that were sailing together towards the Cape of Good Hope when the huge storm hit, and that one of the ships actually made it to the shore while the other one sank. So, I mean, kind of the same, but saying that one actually made it through. And he said that the surviving ship left the Cape eventually to head back to Europe, and when it was heading back to Europe, it encountered another storm, and in the dark clouds of the storm, all of the crew members of the boat like claim that they saw their companion ship that sank in the first storm. Yeah. And so when they arrived at the port like that they were supposed to go to in Europe, they quickly like spread the story like, hi, we definitely saw all of our fellow people drown, and then we saw them again. So
That's, oh my god.
like, that's so crazy. And so, yeah, that version was written in 1795. So about 95 years after the first one. So, very interesting. So, moving on to about 10 years later, another author named John Laden, he had some other ideas of what had happened to the ship. So he seemed to think that the sailors aboard the vessel of the ship that had sank had committed some sort of crime or multiple crimes. And because of the crimes that they committed, God punished them with a dreadful disease. And because at the time no port would allow you to enter if somebody on your ship had a deadly disease, they were forced to sail on the like rough water until Judgment Day for the rest of eternity.
Oh my god, that's so dramatic.
I know. I was like,
Until
sir,
Judgment
come on
Day.
now. God sent them down a deadly disease, and they
Oh
were
my
forced.
God.
I was like, sir, stop being
Just
dramatic.
to this ship. Like,
Right.
what?
Like, sir, everybody has sinned in the world. Why just this ship?
They just had scurvy.
Honestly. So it is actually said, though, that according to somebody on the ship that did go down, it is proven that one ship did, in fact, go down this day, whenever it was. But that apparently somebody on that ship had murdered another person on the ship. And, I mean, but in my mind, I'm like, they were probably pirates. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and if they weren't pirates, I don't know. But, like, also things happen at sea. People get in fights. They go crazy on the water. I don't know. So, I don't know.
No, yeah, like, imagine just... I mean, I haven't been on a boat for that long.
I mean, same,
So,
but I can only
like,
imagine.
Just, like, being locked in somewhere with somebody for
Exactly.
that long.
Exactly.
Like, even just, like, being locked in your house for, like, a week. It's just,
Right.
you go crazy.
You're gonna argue with
And
the
this is,
people
like-
that you're locked up with. It's just,
Yeah.
it's bound to happen.
And this is, like, months at a time, too.
Exactly. So, this man, John Laden, the author, basically says that because of their evilness, they were forced to remain on this ghost ship forever. And he had a little interesting touch, along with the devil himself. And I'm
Of
like,
course,
okay,
of course.
okay, John, okay. So obviously we can tell this man is very religious. That's his very religious take on the ship. So there are countless more stories by different authors that have little tiny variations in the stories, but mostly overall, like, you get the concept. There was a ship, there was a storm, they sank, and now they're a ghost ship.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like a great story, but it sounds just like that, like a story, like it's made up. You know, it doesn't really sound too believable. However, there are so many, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people's encounters, and some of them being people of very high caliber, like claiming they have seen the Flying Dutchman. So probably the most important sighting of all came from none other than King George V. Okay, that's crazy. Like, that's pretty big. And not only was it King George, it was also his brother, Prince Albert Victor. So in 1880, King George and his brother set sail on a 3-year voyage. And on July 11th, 1881, the prince recorded a very strange vision that appeared to him when they were like in the Bass Strait, which is a channel of water that separates Tasmania from Victoria, Australia, which is kind of on the other side of Africa than the Cape of Good Hope. So that's a little weird, but I mean, who knows where the ghost ship can go? I'm assuming anywhere.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know the ghost rules of the ghost ship.
It just goes all throughout the ocean.
Right.
You can probably teleport.
But so King George and his brother wrote in their journals that they saw a strange red light as of like a phantom ship all aglow. Okay. And in the midst of the light that they were seeing, they could see that the mast, the spars, and the sails, like it eventually all came through, you know, through like the fog. I'm sure you can imagine it. And that it was about 200 yards from their boat. So that's like two football fields if you're American.
I mean,
that's pretty close.
Like, yeah, I was going to say it's far, but that's pretty close for a ship.
To be in the water. Yeah, like that's pretty close. So, yeah. And that was like pretty much a direct quote from King George's journal. And apparently everybody else who was on the ship saw it as well, like all the little workers. And once they saw it, they were obviously trying to like move the boat closer to like see who it was, because there was not supposed to be another boat out there. And when they like went to go get their little devices to look, I can't think of what it's called, like binoculars, but not really, you know.
Telescope?
Kind of a telescope, but you know what I'm talking about. Like basically like the old-fashioned binocular. Like a one singular. So anyway, so they went to go get...
Isn't that not like just like a little telescope?
I guess. I mean, that's what it looks like.
I don't know. Maybe there's another name for it.
The word is escaping me, but if it's not, it's telescope. But you know what I'm describing. So they go to get their little devices, and when they get them, it's gone. The boat has disappeared. And that's completely unexplainable, because you would be able to see the boat sailing away.
Oh, yeah. Like it wouldn't just disappear. Yeah,
no, it completely disappeared. So luckily, these boys were very, very much so note takers. And so the quote that I just read to you, he wrote that at 4 a.m. And the next journal entry is from 10:45 a.m., so 6 hours later. One of the sailors who witnessed the ghost ship fell from the mast onto the ship's forecastle and died instantly.
Oh my God.
So immediately, everybody thinks that the ship is some sort of like supernatural warning of doom. And I mean, I see why they would think that. However, could he just have slipped?
I mean, probably.
Like, I get it. It is a really weird coincidence that somebody would die, like, just a few hours after you saw that.
Yeah.
But
still, like, I don't know. It could have just been a coincidence.
I mean, he literally did just fall and die.
Yeah.
But, like, was it because of the ship? I don't know if I believe it. But they really did believe it. So, moving on. Although most sightings of the Flying Dutchman do come from sailors who, like, have seen the ship while also being on the sea, there are two stories from people on the shore of Glencairn Beach in South Africa who witnessed the Flying Dutchman standing on the beach.
Oh.
Okay?
What?
So in the years 1939 and 1941, crowds of people at Glencairn Beach saw the Flying Dutchman under full sail on a collision course straight with the beach. According to the news report from the 1939 incident, the ship sailed with uncanny volition heading towards this like shore. And bystanders were like watching to see like if it was going to like quickly turn around, or like what it was doing, because it was moving very fast towards them. But as the boat kept getting closer and closer to the shore, some people ran away because they were like, you're going to get hit by the boat. But others stayed to watch because they were like, it won't get me. And so they were just watching it, and suddenly, out of literally, they blink and it's gone.
That's so crazy. Because, like, I was imagining this looking a little bit ghostly, but if it looked like a real ship and it was just...
No, fully. Like, it just looked like a regular, real boat. And then, boom, in 1 second, it's gone. Now, that's a little weird.
I would have tried to get away.
Listen,
but, like, look from a distance,
right.
Maybe?
And I'm like, maybe, like, these people, like, on these boats were just, like, crazy from being on the water for so long. They think they see a ghost ship. But the people on the beach, that's a little bit more unexplainable.
Yeah, and it was, like, a whole full beach.
Yeah, a whole full beach. Like, hundreds of people. And not only is that weird enough, that was in 1939, the same exact thing happened in 1941, 3 years later.
What?
And those incidents have never been explained to this day. That is so weird, dude.
And it's so random because that was so long after.
Right.
It
but
crashed.
It was at the same place, though.
Yeah. I guess
so that's
true.
like, I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. I was a little unbelievable. I wasn't really believing it until I saw that. And I was like, okay, that's a little strange. So the most recent sighting, at least what I could find anyway, of this ghost ship occurred during the Second World War. So it's been like a hot minute since people have seen it. So, but however, at the same time, like, I feel like people are generally just not traveling by water as much too. Like, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but also I know there's like cargo ships out there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, there's totally shipping containers. So, like, I don't know. It is weird. So, like, maybe they moved on, or maybe they're still out there and people just aren't talking about it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But back to the last sighting. So during World War II, in the Gulf of Suez in the Red Sea, people were able actually to discover a ship's log, like basically their little journal. And the journal described that the ship that they were on was a U-boat, which basically is just like a very, very skinny, very long boat, but it's like extremely skinny. And in the log, it describes basically what all the other stories say. Like, a mysterious boat comes from the clouds and the fog and suddenly disappears. However, this U-boat was never recovered and to this day never seen again, as well as the entire crew that was on it. Like, the only thing that was recovered was the book, the log. So that's a little weird. And it did have the names of the people who were on it. And they were never seen again. So.
Okay.
So. That's. It's a little weird. So, you may be asking, could there at all be a way to reasonably explain what these people are seeing? We know that the Flying Dutchman, as I mentioned, is not the only ghost ship that people see. As I said, you covered the Mary Celeste, and if you want to listen to that, it's episode 39.
You came prepared.
I sure did. I was like, I gotta be on it this time.
Uh-huh.
So, if it's not really a ghost ship, then what is it? The most commonly accepted and the most well-researched answer is basically that people are seeing a type of mirage known as Fata Morgana. Okay?
Okay. See, that's what they're always saying. It's mirages.
I know. But when I explain to you what this is, I'm like, maybe it's right. So basically, a Fata Morgana mirage is when atmospheric conditions are just right and the refraction of light causes a reflection of a ship or any other object, really. Just some sort of a reflection from, like, the atmospheric conditions to, like, be presented on the horizon.
Okay.
So, from afar, the mirage can seem like it's floating above water or in the sky, sometimes even upside down, like with an eerie glow. And that's kind of what people describe. So, like, I don't know. However,
okay, well, that kind of seems like it's it.
Right, and then also, to even add even further of why I kind of believe this, because atmospheric conditions are so volatile, which basically means like they change very quickly, the mirage can very quickly disappear. So I'm like, okay, this is seeming very plausible to me.
Yeah.
But then again, what about the people that went missing? Was it a coincidence? All these years, all these people, that was all coincidence? That's a little bit weird also.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be. I don't know. Also, on the beach. Like, that's
what I'm
getting
saying.
me.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Like, the people who saw it on the beach, was there another ship around that could have been reflecting that? I don't know. Like,
I don't know. And the fact that it happened twice. If it had only happened once, maybe explainable. Twice? Only 3 years later? That's
actually,
weird.
now that I'm thinking about it, like, if it is a port city, then there probably was a boat nearby. But I don't know.
Yeah, probably. But, like, coming directly towards them, like, this was in the news. Like, this was big news. I don't know. That's what's getting me caught up, too.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, so, also, what I'm thinking about during this whole story, I live at the beach and in a port city. What if I one day am standing on the beach and see a ghost ship? Because I've never thought about that before.
I hope you do.
I hope I do too, because that's wild.
Yeah, maybe you'll see this one.
Right. I hope so. But also, I don't know, because regardless of if this ghost ship actually exists, just like many other legends, people believe it, regardless of if the evidence is there or not. They think that if you see this ghost ship, it's a really bad omen and that something really bad is going to happen to you. So, like, at the same time, I'm like, maybe I don't want to see it.
I forgot about that. It's a bad omen.
Yeah, like, you can die. Like, people have died immediately after seeing it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I kind of feel like if a solid group of people believe a legend, it almost makes the legend real, even if it is or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, if enough people believe it, then it kind of makes it real. So, I don't know. Also, The Flying Dutchman was an episode of Scooby-Doo. So, obviously had to mention that. Yes. And my last fun fact about a Flying Dutchman is that there is a roller coaster at Six Flags in Georgia called the Flying Dutchman, and it was one of my favorite ones when I went there. So, it was real fun. But yeah, that is the legend of the Flying Dutchman.
Wow. That is crazy.
I know. Dude, I was shook. I was shook writing it.
Okay, also though, during most of that, I was just thinking about Our Flag Means Death.
Okay, guys, another show recommendation. You have to go watch Our Flag Means Death on HBO Max. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. It's so good. And I actually started writing the story before I started watching that show. So that's even more interesting.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to ask too. Like, was this inspired by the pirates?
It was not. It was really not.
I love that.
I know. Me too. Love it. So yeah. Definitely go look on Instagram for some pictures. I definitely am trying to see some renditions of what people think this demon death worm whatever looks like. Cause
I know. There's some that are like, I don't know. Maybe I'll find some that aren't so like gross looking.
No, I want the gross ones.
Okay, well maybe. All right.
And also the Flying Dutchman, because we love good renditions of things. Also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But I don't really have anything else. I'm sitting here. It's 9 p.m. We got 3 hours till Harry's house, baby.
Yes.
Harry's house.
And also, now all I can think about is Our Flag Means Death. So I need to switch over to Harry Styles, too.
Rewatch. I don't know. We might have to.
Yeah, I might.
But that's all I really have for you guys this week. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, see you guys next week.
Okay. Cue the music.